Hi guys, my name is Abhishek Singh and you're watching another episode of Weekends with Us. So guys, this is another episode where Debo is busy and she is working on some phenomenal stuff. She has created some really good art pieces which we'll share with you very soon. But this weekend we watched Furiosa, a Mad Max saga. Now, I haven't seen all of the movies of Mad Max. I have seen them running on TV at times. There have been several of them. This is technically the fifth movie. So the first movie was Mad Max in 1979, then there was one in 1981, then one in 1985, and then they made Mad Max in 2015, Mad Max The Fury Road, with Tom Hardy. So initial few movies, the initial three movies was with Mel Gibson as the protagonist, playing the hero, Mad Max. And here in 2015, we had Tom Hardy, replacing him as the main lead. Now that movie was in many ways mind-boggling for me. I mean, like when I look at that movie, I'm like, this is some serious creativity that they have put into action scenes. So all the way from the war rigs that they did, the kind of vehicles they showed, all these factions that they set up. There is Bullet Farm, there is Gas Town, there is Citadel. The the world building was insane. I mean, like they really put thought to how these different factions will be working together, how will these different vehicles be working together in this post-apocalyptic world, what will people be doing to survive. And the action, that was a highlight because they were not relying on CGI to just be done with it. There were lot of real hard work put by stuntmen into doing those action scenes, which were really good to look at the big screen. Now, if you remember, there were scenes where these convoys were chasing the protagonist on the big screen. Then there was this guy who was playing a guitar that used to spit fire, and that visual was etched in my mind for a very long time. I used to just keep on watching previous movie on repeat. So when I heard that, all right, so Furiosa is now being made, and let me tell you about why it was being made. Because of course, when people saw the previous movie, more than Tom Hardy, the character that they liked probably even more was the one that was played by Charlize Theron, playing the role of Furiosa in that movie. She had this badass look, the kind of attire, the one metallic arm, and the kind of action scenes she was doing that just got hold of lot of people's attention, and people remembered her sometimes even more than the main character of Mad Max, right? So I think that is where they thought of making this movie, and I think they definitely did the right thing by doing it. Now, when I saw the trailer, there were few things which I really liked. First of all, the action, the world that seems to be back. The one thing that I was only concerned with was whether the new actress Anya Taylor Joy will be able to justify the role of Furiosa that was done so beautifully by Charlize Theron. Now, Charlize Theron has done action before. I have seen her doing action before. For example, Atomic Blonde, not a movie that most people remember or love, but then at least she was doing action there, and I know that she's good at it. Here, when I saw Anya Taylor Joy, I was just a little bit concerned whether she'll be able to pull it off. And the good part is she does. She does carry the role of Furiosa with utmost sincerity. I mean, like you can see it in her eyes. She has these intense blue eyes with the makeup of Furiosa, and when you look at that screen, I mean, you're like, yeah, I can see this girl doing some serious action, and she pulls it off in most parts. Charlize Theron had a little better screen presence, in my humble opinion. So that was the only thing. Coming to the movie, now this movie is a direct prequel to the previous movie. Actually, where this movie ends, little bit of spoiler, where this movie ends is where the previous movie Mad Max The Fury Road starts. In this movie, we see that where does she come from? Where does Furiosa come from? So we see the childhood of Furiosa, where she's a little kid and she is born into this place of abundance. First of all, they tell you that the world has fallen, the currencies have like gone, the gangs are running wild, and there's just utter chaos across this wasteland which is there. And there is one place of abundance where there is ample food, water. They have windmills running. That place is doing great. The people are civilized, and we see that the young Furiosa, she comes across these people, these outsiders who have ventured into their areas, and they are trying to steal stuff. and that is where she gets entangled with these gang members, and she is kidnapped from there, brought to where these factions are. Now, the in the beginning, there is a little bit of the action scene where they try to set up these people as someone who are civilized, yes, but they are also badasses. We see Furiosa's mother kicking a lot of ass in the beginning. She's basically chasing these people down, hunting them with a rifle. So it's good to look at. Then we get introduced to Chris Hemsworth's character, Dementus. And in the first few scenes, I couldn't even recognize him, right? Like, especially in the trailer, when I was looking at it, I'm like, wow, really? Is that Chris Hemsworth? Because trust me, he has changed his persona a lot for this movie. I mean, on the surface, you will say, okay, so he's still shredded. He has these this muscles. He has these biceps. So he has long hair, beard. Should be same as Thor, right? No. When you look at him on the big screen, you will notice that he has changed. First of all, there is a prosthetic nose that does change his look a little. Then he puts on this accent, even those crooked teeth that has been put up. And honestly, it if you don't really know from before that it's Chris Hemsworth, in certain scenes you will not be able to recognize him. So he does have time of his life playing this character. He's just chewing the scenery in every shot, right? I mean, he's saying these dialogues with so much fun, you can't help but miss him when he's not on the screen. So if you ask me who are the main characters in the story, so of course Furiosa, and then of course the character of Dementus. These are the two main lead who are kind of caught up in this tale of vengeance, right? I mean, where Furiosa has to take revenge on this guy for doing harm to her family, her mother, right? So the good thing about the younger version of Furiosa is the kid who plays her. I mean, you can see that she's a younger version of Anya Taylor Joy. That is something that I liked about that girl. I mean, and she was not doing stupid stuff. She was resourceful. She was doing whatever was right in the moment to escape certain situations. So it's not like, oh, hey, so it's a kid, so it will do dumb stuff. No, I mean, the kid was pretty smart, and that is something I liked. The movie then spends quite a lot of time establishing the role of Dementus in this larger story about these different factions which are there. So what we see is that he is like quite a bit of scum, actually. He has so much ambition of controlling everything over the wasteland. He has a huge army. Like, he has this chariot made out of bikes and it is just really funny to look at, and he has this huge army who are like all bikers going around and pillaging stuff. So he gets into conflict with Immortan Joe. He goes to the place, he tries to flex, his power, that I have so many people and I'm here to claim the citadel, and there is a great action scene that happens there. And then he puts his eyes on other places like Gastown, for example. So now it's shown that while he is very ambitious and at times he does work out his plan, he is really bad at managing his own gang, to be honest. I mean, like, the gang keeps on revolting against him. He's not able to manage anything at all. So he is a bad manager. Right, that's what it came out to be. The movie also spends quite a bit of time spending on showing how the character of Anya Taylor Joy is growing up. Like, how is she going through the hardships, and how does she become the badass that we see her to be. There are a couple of action scenes which are really great to look at. Those are like the highlights of this movie. You would remember them, after leaving the theater. And there is one scene with the war rig, I mean, which is there in this movie. And there's also character of Tom Burke, by the way. He has a little shorter role, but yeah, he plays the role of Praetorian Jack, and he is the one who kind of takes the character of Furiosa under his wing and teaches her a lot of things. But otherwise, the movie runs at a fabulous pace, and all the actors are doing a great job. I mean, you see a lot of returning actors from the previous movie. Like, for example, you see a little younger version, like of all the characters, like Immortan Joe, for example. Then there are sons of Immortan Joe. There is, right, the people who are running the other towns, like, for example, Bullet Farm and Gas Town. Like, those are also there. So you see some of those returning characters in this movie. So what's great about this movie is the sound design, the effects, the action, stunts. Like, it's really great. What there are certain criticisms that I have about this. One is you don't really hear a lot from the main character Furiosa herself. I mean, she has very less lines, and for the sake of plot, not like unnecessarily. Of course, her character is supposed to be speaking less in during the movie, so it's not like it's for no reason. But you do feel that at times the main character of Furiosa is actually put on the sidelines while there are certain other things happening, right? I mean, in fact, there are times when you feel Furiosa is a secondary character in her own movie. It is just a little bit odd. That was one criticism. So the other criticism was that while Anya Taylor Joy does a fabulous job, I mean, I totally believe that she is a younger version of the Furiosa that we see in the previous movie. You totally believe that. But by the end of the movie, and spoiler alert, they actually link it back to the first scene of the previous movie, right? I mean, where or like the setup of the previous movie, where the character of Furiosa is escaping, and now I'm like, okay, so 28-year-old Anya Taylor Joy is playing a younger Furiosa, and the second movie was played by Charlize Theron, who was probably 40 at the time. It is just a little bit jarring to see that jump. I don't know why they had to really link it back to that first scene. It's fine. I mean, you don't really have to do that. The third thing was where, again, talking about that specific scene, it doesn't really show why she feels so much for these women whom she helps in escaping in the first movie. So it's not shown, right? I mean, in this movie, the setup is not really there. So those are like some of the things which I found a little bit jarring, but otherwise the movie is fantastic. You should go and watch it in theaters. Currently, it is holding 90% on Rotten Tomatoes. It is, I think, 8 plus on IMDb. Then this is earning decently in India. I'm not going to say that it's doing amazingly well, but I feel the theaters were not as packed as I expected them to be. I went like on the first day itself, and the kind of crowd I saw, I was like, okay, so probably not that much reception for this movie. The theater was partially filled. So, but then if you are watching this review, I will urge you to go watch this movie solely for, if nothing else, the kind of dedication that these guys put in to making these kind of movies, the making these kind of stunts, the kind of creativity they put in to show these different costumes, the different vehicles that they put into making this world really believable. In this movie, in fact, they also show a lot of fixing stuff. Like, I mean, like in the beginning, I mean, there is an action scene which is happening while the younger Furiosa has been kidnapped, and you see the mother of Furiosa being really resourceful. How on the go she is able to change tires, switch bikes, and those kind of stuff. That was really cool to look at, because that is what you expect, like how people will be working once this apocalypse happen, right? So that was really good to look at, and I like that part as well. Now, talking about spoilers, I mean, giving a serious spoiler warning. We just wanted to talk about one additional aspect, and that was Furiosa's hand. Now, if you saw the trailer, of course, she has both hands, and if you saw the first movie, she has one hand. So, of course, she's going to lose the hand at some point. Now, what I found a little underwhelming was the way she lost that arm. Okay, again, spoiler warning. So, in during the movie, it shows that she keeps on etching stuff on the arm, right? She is actually putting in the coordinates of where her home is. Like, she's marking where the stars would be, which direction it's supposed to head. So all that she has like kind of drawn onto her hand, and it's built up, right? I mean, it keeps showing during the entire movie that this hand has been etched with these details. And you're like, okay, so this is going to play in some big way in the later part of the movie. And in my head, all right, in my head, what I thought, that probably the character of Chris Hemsworth, the Dementors will know of the arm. He will understand that this path leads to her home. He will cut off the arm, try to go to the place, take the help of that old guy who is like a walking encyclopedia. That doesn't happen, right? So that was one small nitpick. If I have to, in my mind, I was trying to make a different movie. That is all I had to say. So go watch the movie for performance by Anya Taylor Joy, and especially for Chris Hemsworth. He does have a lot of fun in this role. He has a really good monologue at the end, in fact. Now, if nothing, then you should go watch it for solely for his performance as well. So thank you. We'll see you in the next video. Like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Bye.